COVID-19 pandemic, from all indication, is still ravaging, and as efforts to contain the spread of the virus progresses, most countries of the world have adopted physical distance as one of the strategies in combating the deadly virus. The pandemic brought about new guidelines in most societies that has informed a new social order, prompting most individuals and corporate organizations to rethink their strategies and leverage on technology in conducting their social engagements. This, no doubt, has increased online presence across board. The big question here is, will virtual meetings and functions become part of the toolbox for social engagement moving forward post-COVID-19? What really are the advantages of this new culture? Well, we will attempt to explore the attendant benefits of virtual exchange and experience on the program today. Welcome to 30 Minutes on NTA News 24. It's all about adapting to the new normal. I'm Lydia Sampson. Traditional face-to-face public engagement has been around for as long as anyone can remember. Organizations spend considerable time and money on physical conferences and consultations. Our correspondent Victor Azu is set to tell us how COVID-19 has brought about a new social order and how it is saving man hours and travel's time. Victor, it's all yours now.
Following the outbreak of the novel coronavirus and subsequent spread of the disease across many countries of the World Health Organization declared COVID-19 a global pandemic. In response to the lethal effects of the virus, many countries came up with strategies to combat the disease, and top on the list of action plan was restriction of movement. This saw some countries issuing an outright lockdown of all social, political and economic activities. Naturally, many businesses were affected, with schools shutting down and major events cancelled. Where there is no total shutdown or restriction of human movement, rules that ensure protection and safety of citizens were introduced and in some cases instituted. And as the months rolled by, physical and social distancing have become the order of the day, along with wearing of nose masks and frequent washing of hands, as well as use of hand sanitizers. As a way of working through the new rules and health advisory without missing out on everything, most social engagements became virtual, even as families and friends opted for virtual interactions as well. In all of these, information and communication technology gained prominence. The download of video conferencing apps soared to record highs as socially distanced world literally began reconvening in cyberspace. While Skype was already known before the pandemic, Silicon Valley video conferencing app Zoom became the new kid on the block. The app, which allows users to talk with up to 99 other people simultaneously, emerged at the top of the pile, and Nigeria is not left out of the furore.
Hello everyone, this is
The app has been used to host virtual classrooms, church services, meetings, conferences, and other national and international engagements. The virtual adaptation has paid off in many ways, as scarce resources have been saved from supposed airfares, hotel accommodation, and duty tour allowances, which hitherto posed a huge burden on governance. The cost containment regime, from all indications, is not exclusive to government, as private citizens and organizations are also counting their blessings and cutting their losses.
It will now take vital decisions on Nigeria generally. So the first virtual meeting was held on the 13th by the Federal Executive Council. And in fact, in that meeting, that was when the FEC looked at now the review of the budget, that we are now that is presently in the National Assembly. So if we take only this as a benefit, the visual kind of approach has now brought to us, I can say even that one is enough.
We now have what we call supply chain 4.0. And one of the critical things that I think COVID has taught us is that we need to make local. The global supply chains have their own challenges right now, especially in the movement of people in particular. But we're finding that we need to be able to, for example, grow our own products, boost our own local manufacturing. I mean, we were at the beginning not even able to make face masks. Now we are. So I think this is, a hint to the kind of direction we need to go in.
Beyond saving cost, it also increases productivity, flexibility, and faster or easier to take a product to market. For example, in a normal distance, we can't conceptualize and execute a project within 2 weeks. But because of the power of this technology, it's helped us to achieve that. You can join conferences, you can attend training online, and you can do it while doing other things as well. We spend a lot in terms of traveling, especially foreign trips. But now, with all borders closed, we are in our country and working successfully.
Indeed, COVID-19 has accelerated a new social order, a whole new world where employees can work from home and engagements can be conducted without physical contact, which has sparked a debate whether the new normal should continue post-COVID-19 or the world should just revert to old ways of doing things before the pandemic.
We were already headed somewhere before the outbreak of COVID-19 pandemic. We were headed towards the world of the Internet of Things, a world where things were essentially going to be much more remote than they ever can be. So it was a world of data sciences that were headed, and I've made a point, that, the COVID-19 has just come to hasten us onto that new pedestal, and whether we like it or not, that new world, a world of remote services, is almost upon us, and we just have a very strong reminder in our hands that is a world that we are definitely headed, whether we like it or not. Yes, physical interaction will continue to subsist, but we'll now have a different platform for interaction.
One of the critical areas I see where we are beginning to improve is how to get internal payments within Nigeria so that the onion market traders, the cooperative, for example, in Abuja Wuse market, will be able to pay for a lorry load of onions from the farmers cooperative in Kebbi. So that what is really the issue then is just the actual transportation, which does not require more than 1 or 2 drivers and maybe 1 or 2 lorry boys. So I can see that those kind of opportunities are beginning to take shape. But having said that, we have to look at our own e-commerce capacities, building indigenous mobile money, and basically improving the home delivery experience.
Another concern raised is if Nigeria has the capacity to fully switch to the ICT as a way of conducting business and other engagements. Indeed, does the country have the infrastructure to make it count? How efficient is the internet available in the country as a vital complementary service in the use of ICT?
The infrastructure itself has to be developed to the level it is supposed to be operating seamlessly. And then, of course, the power has to be improved because all these systems are supported by the power. If you don't have the power, then there's an issue. The security aspect is also very fundamental for your identity as well as also the data itself. And I have to tell you that this is actually the main reason why the government also established even the Galaxy Backbone, specifically to provide the needed security, particularly for government data.
There's no pattern, there's no sphere of life that is not prone to risk, that does not have people who want to pervert the process. And these are the people you call nymphomaniacs, psychopaths, or people who just naturally want to deviate from the norm. Much as you have it in the physical space of existence, you also have it in the online space. And of course, the online space has different kinds of security controls. It has different ways in which you can mitigate possible danger. And scientists, of course, engineers are perfecting this process. And of course, there are ways of policing online spaces as well. So what we have to do is just to up the ante in terms of mitigating crime in that sphere, just like we do in the physical space.
We can build on this journey we've started last year implement the national digital economy policy and strategy. If we do that, it covers everything end to end for you to have digital services end to end. In addition, Mr. President directed that all ministries should set up a digital transformation working group to help us drive the Nigerian digital transformation. So the government has been committed on it, and the journey has started. What we need now is to follow it religiously so that we can achieve our goals in terms of digital transformation.
I would continue to encourage government to endeavor always, when formulating policy, to take a human-centered and inclusive approach to digital and technology governance. As Vint Cerf, one of the fathers of the internet, recently said, the internet itself isn't broken. It's shown that it's worked, but it is the inequalities which need to be fixed. And I think this is where our service providers need to be able to make access ubiquitous and affordable, and frankly, symmetric and reliable. It's a two-way street. I am personally positive. I think if our society takes the COVID-19 situation as an opportunity to review our priorities and focus, and I think we should not seek to go back to normal, but move forward to something better.
As the world continues to grapple with the novel coronavirus in a bid to save lives and livelihoods, the gains of the season must not be lost on Nigerians, especially as experts' projections indicate attendant challenges and the need for adjustments, particularly in the economic sector post-COVID-19 pandemic.
Thank you, Victor. Let's go over to our next correspondent, Alika Okpanachi, who will be telling us just how well some conventional institutions are faring with the virtual interplay and online networking.
The benefits of virtual meeting cannot be overemphasized, especially with the advent of COVID-19 pandemic and the inability of people to meet face-to-face. This has no doubt adversely affected the global economy, forcing many businesses to temporarily shut down and governments across the world to place restriction on movement as a way to contain the spread of the virus. Unfortunately, the educational sector is one of the most affected. According to UNESCO, an estimated 1.725 billion learners have been affected as a result of school closures. To cushion the effect of the pandemic, the world is embracing technological innovations. Virtual interactions are increasingly adopted to replace physical engagement and limit the total disruption in many sectors. UNESCO has recommended the use of distant learning programs, open educational applications, and platforms by schools and teachers to reach learners remotely. These include integrated digital learning platforms, video lessons, massive online courses, and broadcasts through radio and television.
We know that what is happening and what we urgently need now is in conformity with the realities of the moment. Hitherto, like you observed, not much attention, some attention, but not enough attention. But now it has dawned on all the stakeholders in education that this aspect, technology, is inevitable, is unavoidable, and more attention should now be focused on that particular area. It is not just enough to teach maybe computer science or ICT in the school, but given the experience we had of recent, which has impacted on everybody, even globally, it has become inevitable that more of technology has to be deployed.
We have no choice than to explore this medium. Power, internet connectivity limitations will be there, with or without COVID-19. But now, presently, to curtail this, because this is real, COVID-19 is real, is with us. we have no other option than to do some virtual communications in teaching students, because they have been they've been at home for a long time. If we have to bring them out, then can we face the consequences? So they can still benefit from this virtual training. The meetings, like we are meeting here, the committees we've met before, virtually before coming here. In fact, since COVID-19, this is the first time we are meeting physically. So the country has to move. The economy has to move. This virtual technology is a benefit to us. So let's make use of it and let's develop it to the maximum.
Here in Nigeria, some schools have already adopted e-learning as a response to COVID-19 induced social restriction. Additionally, some states and private organizations have come up with e-learning initiatives to bridge the gap in the education sector. The success of these recommendations hinges on the use of high technology or low technology solutions, which are based on the reliability of local power supply, internet connectivity, and digital skills of teachers, students, parents, and caretakers. As pleasant as this solution is, it is said that students from low-income generating communities will be left out and unable to access learning through this medium.
If you want to facilitate teaching and learning, some call it e-learning, some call it online learning, whatever stuff, whatever name you decide to give to it, it is very, very important. And it should not be peculiar to the private schools alone. It should be a universal application. Children have equal rights. We shouldn't make some to feel more privileged or more advantageous than others. I think if we had been a little bit more proactive rather than being reactive, which is unfortunately the feature of our developmental strategies, we wouldn't have been caught so unawares and put some of our children at a disadvantage.
As the debate on the preference for online or physical engagement rages on, with both sides having plausible arguments, the fact remains that society must forge on. To this end, business owners and professionals are cashing in on the many opportunities and leverages online presence seems to offer, with most insisting that safety and protection against the disease remains paramount on the priority list.
My take on video conference meetings, Zoom meetings, video WhatsApp meetings, and all the online platforms for meetings. On my own opinion, it's a good development. However, the challenge we have in Nigeria is the strength of our network and the challenge you always have with our network. The challenge, the network doesn't support that system. Meanwhile, while it is a good development, I still encourage our service providers, the network providers, to up their games in the area of providing a strong network. In the final analysis, either we like it or not, as a nation, the development of online meetings, Zoom meetings, video conferencing has come to stay. Even though I will prefer that the physical meetings allows room for more expressions, allows room for more body language, contacts and communications. But we just have to accept the new normal, which is the video conferencing calls and meetings. By the time we get adapted to it, it's going to help us a lot. And once we get adapted to it, it's going to help our economy, it's going to save time, it's going to save energy and a whole lot of stress.
It doesn't really make economic sense that meetings that can be held by different people from all over the world, visually, that people keep hopping into the airplane, traveling, here and there, like we used to see. I am looking forward to a situation in Nigeria when senior civil servants will slow down with their, traveling, globetrotting around the world in the name of one meeting or the other. These meetings can be effectively held with you sitting in your office in wherever you are, and other people sitting in their respective offices wherever they are, and you hold meetings, take decisions, put down the minutes of the meeting, and in 1 minute, those minutes will get to each participant. That's technology for you. That's where the world is, and it's something that we must advance in Nigeria. Unfortunately, we are not yet 100% covered with internet, Wi-Fi. We are still struggling, with efficiency in that sector. And until we get it really as efficient as they are in civilized world, we cannot stop. We must continue to improve, get right with our electricity, and then get right with our internet services. Once these are settled, believe you me, we'll go beyond the skies.
Religious organizations are no different. To Senior Pastor, First Baptist Church, Gariki, Abuja, Reverend Israel Akanji, streaming live worships on social media and its website for members outside the auditorium is not new to the church, as many churches use this medium to reach their large audience across the country. He describes the use of video engagements in congregating as taking church to the people.
What happened during the lockdown made us to begin to have virtual meetings and virtual conferences. I was part of a number of such. One that was organized by the EFCC. I was a part of it. It was such a beautiful one with very great contributions, and some others were organized by the church, and I was part of it again, and they were very, very beautiful. In fact, very, very important decisions were taken as we had this virtual meeting. So I believe that for the church, this is an opportunity we have to explore more. I feel that not just for the church, but for the nation and all people, things must not remain the same again. And when they say things will not remain the same again, I don't think that it is anything negative when they are saying things will not remain the same again. I think it is, for me, a positive thing, wherein we are going to be doing things better, and we are going to be managing resources better. And for instance, let me say, okay, in my church denomination, our headquarters is in Ibadan. And each time we have had to hold our executive committee meetings of the church, we will either travel to Ibadan or to a place in Ebele in Osun State where we have a big camp and where we will normally meet. And of course, look at the risk of traveling, look at the amount of money involved in traveling, and then we will have to not just travel, but you will need to take accommodation for 2 days and things like that. Now, when we had our virtual meetings, we discovered that we could still treat the very important subjects through camera, and we didn't need to be together. So while I know that the need for coming together is still there, we cannot use virtual meetings to exchange coming together, because it will not be the same thing. But there are really many things we can do now using the virtual approach rather than coming together. And I believe that where that is good, we should explore it.
Respondents maintain that though the culture of visual engagement may be new to some Nigerians, this new culture has come to stay. Hence the need to embrace this innovation.
Thank you, Alika. Yes, there is a big difference between delivering a digital event and delivering a live event. Some may think the value of an in-person event is lost when you go digital. But there are several unique benefits to digital events, as well as accessibility, flexibility, environmental friendliness, and most importantly, cost containment tops the list of benefits. Can we throw all that away? Your guess is as good as mine. That's our package on 30 Minutes Today. Thank you for being part of it. We'll see you next time. Until then, please stay safe.